This is Show Up as a Leader, a show from PeopleForward Network, helping you maximize your positive impact on the world by becoming your best, fully authentic self.
Hey everyone, it's Rosie. I am super excited to have KL Shaw, expert salary negotiator and career strategist, launch a new series on the podcast called The Career Bump. In this series, KL offers your ultimate guide to show up as a leader by stepping into your power, getting in the driver's seat, and making moves that matter in your career. She describes it as she is going to be your career roadie. Lots of great stuff in her series. Take a listen.
Welcome back to the Career Bump podcast, the show that puts you in the driver's seat of your career. I'm your host, KL Shaw. All right, friends, welcome back. I have to be real with you. Our last episode, which was my first episode, I was riding high. It was my birthday week. I had my launch happening. Was fantastic. Social media everywhere, everyone reaching out. And I was feeling on top of the world until my best friend called me. And she told me she listened to my podcast, which was amazing, first of all. But she said, I could tell you were reading. And I have to be honest, that hit me hard. For a second, I felt that awful sinking feeling that we all can get when we put ourselves out there and we get feedback that perhaps we weren't ready for. I immediately went to, okay, well, first of all, she's right. I was scared. It was my first podcast. Any podcasts that I have done have all been interviews, which are so much easier in my opinion. And I'm going to assume that every podcaster looks back on their first episode and is probably cringeworthy. I thought, well, maybe podcasting isn't for me. And then I paused. And first of all, I really recognized that she was right. And I'm a learner and I know where this feedback came from. So it was never looking at her and saying, oh gosh, she doesn't want me to succeed. She's saying something negative. The reality is she wants me to be better and she wanted to help me get better. And I also remember this statistic that roughly 75% of podcasts don't make it past episode 8. It's a phenomenon called pod fade. And that, my friends, is not going to be me. I recognized that when I launched my first and recorded my first podcast, I was playing it safe. I was trying to get everything right instead of just showing up as me. And while other people that I asked, did you see or feel that I was reading, didn't have quite the same impression, I know that I can do better. And I was just scared to step out and talk into a microphone. But she said to me, in addition to that feedback, she said, KL, you are magic. And the world needs to hear that magic that I get to see and feel every single day. So friends, I am going to keep moving forward and we are off to the races. And I'm going to keep showing up because I know many of you will be inspired by what we're sharing here. So let's talk about that. That moment really made me realize that it is really easy to let fear and judgment and rejection hold us back. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. How our own mindset and the stories we tell ourselves can either push us forward or keep us stuck. So if you've ever second-guessed yourself in a salary negotiation, hesitated to ask for a raise or apply for the job, or feel like you weren't ready for the next big step in your career, this episode is for you. Let's break it down and get you in the driver's seat. So why is it that most people stay stuck or stay in the passenger seat? A lot of us are waiting for permission, or we're waiting for the perfect moment, or we're waiting for someone to recognize our value. But I can tell you that waiting will not get you where you want to go. because it truly is the moment that you realize that you are in control is the moment that everything changes. Now, I'm not saying that that's as easy as a flip the switch, but it does come back to our mindset. If we wait, what if nobody comes? What if no one is recognizing our value? The only way that we can live the life that we want to live in a fulfilling way and have a career that we feel great about, that we get to go to every day, that we get to be around every day, and that we get to make an impact is the moment you step into the driver's seat. So last week we did talk about that power of clarity. We talked about the 3 questions that I believe are critical for you to start building your career story. And those are, what do you love? What are you great at? And how are you, or do you want to make an impact on the world? This is the grounding and the clarity that helps you figure out what you really want. So people say they want more money or more impact or more fulfillment, but they're really unclear on actually what that looks like. So answer those 3 questions. Go back to, or start thinking about, what do I want my career to look like a year from now, 5 years from now? I often do an exercise, or have my clients do exercises, that write yourself a letter in 1 year, I am, and write down everything that you are feeling, that you are doing, that you are experiencing, as if it's already happened. You will be amazed when you look back a year later at how many of those things have come true. But it all starts with that power of clarity and you getting grounded to that. So let's talk a little bit about limiting beliefs. So there's a lot of limiting beliefs around money, around career, that really just help or, force you to stay stuck. Things like, I have to wait for someone to recognize my worth. If I work hard, I'll get promoted. Or I don't have enough experience, or I'm just lucky to have this job. Or talking about money is uncomfortable, or I need another degree or certification to get more, to earn more. These beliefs are holding you back from greatness. So let's come back to a couple of them. I have to wait for someone to recognize my worth. No, you don't. You have to advocate for yourself. Period. Full stop. You have to sit with your boss on a regular basis and talk about where you're going and talk about what you're accomplishing and the impact that you're making, and ask regularly for feedback so that you can get further clarity and be curious about how you can continue to grow and the actions that you should be taking to get there. If you don't ask, you won't get. A lot of people, and I would say myself included early in my career, love this one. If I just work hard, I'll get promoted. Not true. Hard work alone does not guarantee success. Strategy, visibility, and negotiation do. It may take you to a certain stage or to a certain level if you work hard. I am certain that that was a big part of my move to the C-suite and how I got there. But that strategic networking we talked about last week, we talked about visibility, we talked about negotiation. All of those things are the things that are going to get you promoted. Things like not wanting to come across greedy. This is a hard one. I have to say a lot of people have a limiting belief around not asking for more because they don't want to seem greedy. But negotiation is not greed. It's self-respect, period. And I think I dropped this stat last time. I'm going to drop it again because it is so powerful. Almost 90% of the time when you negotiate, the answer is yes. 90% of the time. And the fact of the matter is less than 40% of you are negotiating at all. and are not asking at all. It truly is self-respect, and it is truly expected from the person on the other side. I have sat on that side of the table for a decade, and I can tell you it is expected. I want to see how you show up in that situation, especially because it is a bit uncomfortable. I want to see how you play when you are uncomfortable. There are beautiful ways for you to ask for more and advocate for yourself that don't have to feel yucky and greedy. You deserve to be paid what the market is paying, and you deserve to be paid for the incredible work that you do. So getting those limiting beliefs in check and reframing those is extremely important. Another one that held me back for a period of time was I need another degree or certification to earn more, because that was validation that would help me sell my case. I hear this a lot from clients, and I so wholeheartedly don't agree, because so many of your skills are transferable. And if you are a learner, you are someone who has learned something, can grow in certain areas, which is most of us. You don't need that certification. You need practice, and you need someone to believe in you. You need confidence. So getting more and more credentials does not equal more money or more opportunities. So really, stop waiting for permission, own your worth, and start taking action. So let's talk about reframing your mindset. So oftentimes people will hold themselves back for a certain thought in their mind that they use the word like, I hope they'll pay me well. Reframing your mindset is shifting that to, I will advocate for what I'm worth. I will be paid appropriately for the value that I bring. Different ways for you to reframe that. Things like, I'm lucky to have this job. No, luck had nothing to do with it. Your skills and your experience did. So anytime you get something in your head that blocks you from moving forward, reframe that with something that is actually valid and truth. And really start questioning and asking yourself, how are these beliefs helping me move forward? And if they're not, I need to rethink them and reframe them. One of the things that I work with my clients on is preparation and practice. So reframing your mindset is one thing. I hope they'll pay me well, to I will advocate for what I'm worth. Well, you can't just say I'm going to advocate for what I'm worth without doing the preparation and the practice. So we spend a lot of time around preparing to build your confidence, because the more your confidence grows, the more you own your worth. And another key factor is detaching from the outcome. There is only two things that we can control, and that is how I show up and how I treat others. How I show up means, am I coming in with the right mindset? Have I prepared and practiced? Have I done my homework? Do I know what the market is paying? Am I able to articulate my value and my impact? If I can do those things, the rest is not up to me. I have to detach from the outcome, because not every situation that we're going into is actually meant for us. Some of them are simply for preparation and practice for that unicorn beautiful opportunity that is coming our way. Detaching from the outcome is actually probably the hardest part of all of this, because no one likes to be rejected, but rejection does not mean failure. There have been doors that have been closed. I'll give you an example. So I was trying to go to Germany and do an experience with BMW when I worked for them. I met this person, and he was great. We had a wonderful interview. He loved everything about my background. It was a fantastic opportunity. And I really wanted to be in Germany because I met the love of my life, and he was there. So had this great meeting. We get to the offer stage and he says, KL, here's the offer. I can't give you an expat contract, but I can give you X salary and maybe a bonus. I can't remember it, but it was small. It was a 30% pay cut, friends. So as much as I wanted to move there for the love of my life, I could not accept a 30% pay cut. And as I was processing this, I said to him, listen, I'm a salesperson. It was a sales job. I said, when I show you the money and we accomplish all the things that we set out to do, I want to revisit this conversation. And my expectation is that you will bonus me and you will close that gap. So his answer, I just thought it was a really crafty and creative solution. I was willing to say yes to something with the potential and knowing that I was resting on myself to execute, which was saying a lot. But again, there was some other indications of why I wanted to say yes to this job. His answer to me was, I'm sorry, I can't do that because I have to pay you the same as the guy sitting next to you who might be surfing the internet all day. It's just the reality of the system. I was heartbroken because I was so hopeful that I was going to move to Germany to be with my love. And I said no to the opportunity. I happened to be in Germany at the time, having these interviews. I was about to fly home and I was sitting at a desk and I got a phone call, ironically, from the love of my life's ex-girlfriend, which is funny. I picked up the phone and she said, KL, I'm so glad you're still here. I have someone you need to meet before you fly home. He's on his way to your building. I only know he's looking for someone to run a project. I don't know much more than that. Meet him. He'll be there in 15 minutes. So of course, I was sitting there sad, feeling sorry for myself, figuring out what am I going to do. Ran downstairs, met this person. Before I got on the airplane, he had made me an offer that was a full expat contract, an unbelievable project opportunity. And I ended up, of course, saying yes. Now, that's an example of I had to detach from the outcome, even though I didn't know what that meant at the time, because this really wasn't in my control. And so that rejection and that door that closed opened up another one because that wasn't meant for me. And that clarity, and by the way, that has happened to me multiple times in my career, and it happens multiple times to you. When doors close, there is a reason for it. All you can focus on is your mindset, your preparation, your practice, how you show up, how you treat others. That's it. So think back to a time when perhaps that door closed on you and what may have opened after that. We all bounce back from these moments. We talked about it at the beginning of the podcast about my experience with feedback on my first episode. And while that may have knocked me back for a moment, maybe a couple of hours, if I'm being honest, what did I do about it to improve? And my husband actually gave me the most beautiful feedback that I really appreciated because he's very, very direct and not afraid to tell me what he really thinks. I love that about him and also hate that about him sometimes. No, I love that about him. But one of the things that he said was, what I love about you is how quickly you bounce back from any setback or any situation. I so admire that about you. So we all have moments where we question ourselves. And the question is, what do you do next that is going to define your success? So if you've ever hesitated to negotiate or felt unsure about what to ask for or worried about saying the wrong thing, the Salary Bump Accelerator program is for you. It's my step-by-step system to help you prepare for your next interview and earn thousands more in your next salary conversation. And because you're a listener, you get 15% off with the code POD15. That's POD15. Go to thesalarybump.com and start negotiating with confidence, because your next paycheck should be your best one yet. So thanks for listening. I'm going to leave you with this. The biggest thing holding you back in your career and your money isn't your skills or your experience. It's your mindset. It's the way you talk to yourself. It's the limits you set before you even try. And that, my friends, is what's keeping you stuck. Here's the good news. You have the power to change it. So here's my challenge for you. What's one belief about your career or money that you're ready to let go of? DM me, comment, or just sit with it. Because once you start shifting your mindset, everything changes. If you loved this episode, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Because we all deserve to get in the driver's seat of our careers. Until next time, trust yourself, take the wheel, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
I'm Rosie Ward, and this is Show Up as a Leader. To learn more, head over to PeopleForwardNetwork.com and, of course, hit that follow button.